Awesome. Guys, we are live. First of all, I just want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining Change with Ted Williams. Remember, change starts with you. So we are excited, ladies and gentlemen, to have two dynamic guests and a third guest that will be joining us a little later on. I am Ted Williams, and this is week number 7 of us doing this show during quarantine. So it has been really crazy. We used to do the show in the studio last year, and then we kind of stopped for a while. And quarantine happened, and I'm sitting in my house with my kids. So I was like, hey, we got to get back online and do some things. So I am excited. Tonight we're going to be talking about the U.S. presidential election. We're going to be talking about the COVID-19 crisis. You know, one of the things that I realized in America, I don't want to get into the content yet, but one of the things I realized in America is that for Americans, the coronavirus is over, right? It's like we just kind of like, in America, we're just like, well, it's done, you know, that's it. So I want to definitely make sure that we have some conversation around that. And we got some phenomenal guests. Matter of fact, my guests, would you guys do me a favor, introduce yourselves? And then as you guys know, we're going to play our trivia game in just 1 second. So I want to make sure I'm streaming and everything like that correctly. So I want our guests to introduce themselves, and let me take care of that. Chris Butler, why don't you tell us who you are?
I will do that. So thanks so much, Ted, by the way, for just for having me on. I look forward to the conversation. But I am Chris Butler. I am the senior pastor of Chicago Embassy Church Network. That's a church that is currently in 2 campuses in Chicago and Hyde Park, and then in the suburb of South Holland, Illinois. I am also the former operator of a public affairs consulting firm. That's what I did before I started pastoring. And so I have a bit of a background in organizing, advocacy, and kind of politics. So the last thing that I'll say is that I'm on the executive committee for the AND campaign, which is kind of where these two worlds meet, because we work on engaging Christians in civics and politics from a biblical worldview.
Awesome. See, you do a much better job of introducing yourself than I could have. So thank you so much for that. Definitely appreciate it. Lori Harris, please tell us who you are.
Thanks, Ted, and yes, thank you for having us on Lucky Episode 7. So looking forward to seeing how Episode 7 is going to really begin to be provocative. Like no other episode has done before, this is good content ahead for all of us. So yes, Lori Harris. I have an intersectionality of expertise around homelessness and housing. I've served on 2 city mayors' offices working on housing issues, mostly also around disaster recovery response, whether it's natural disasters like hurricanes or monsoons, doing international development for 14 years prior to being on staff on local government. And then also working most recently with yesterday being the 4th anniversary of the Pulse Massacre, when I was on staff at the City of Orlando as a point person and helping to respond and set up a long-term support system for those who were directly impacted by the Pulse Massacre. So my time has continued to really focus on disaster recovery response around homelessness and housing, and now with COVID-19, the economic crisis and the cascade of evictions that are going to occur in the coming months.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lori. And I got to say, I'm kind of partial. I kind of like both of them very much. And yes, our worlds intersect in many ways. So Lori, her husband and I were really good friends from high school, and we used to hang back way back when. I know, Lori doesn't look like it, but I do. We were in high school many years ago. So, and brother Chris here is a phenomenal pastor to a number of friends of mine, and we worked on a campaign together where I was a candidate, and he was kind of patient with me, trying to help us to kind of figure out how to get engaged in the Chicago, the crazy world of Chicago politics. So it's good to have both of you here. And so here's what we do this, okay? Guys, we're going to play our game now. Now, if you guys have comments in the comments, please hit the comment section. I will try to be kind of reflective of what you're saying. My wife just said hi, Lori. So there we go. So please, we are streaming on 2 different Facebook pages and also on YouTube. And the game it's gotten heated in the past, folks. People get upset. I will not allow our guests to play ever because they're too news oriented. However, what I will allow them to do is to kind of play and keep their own score. So once again, the people in the comments section are the ones who are actually physically playing. And please, if you win, there are a number of really cool possible pieces of paraphernalia that I have here. So I've got books. I got all these books that I wrote and ordered and just sitting in my office right now because of quarantine. I can't get out, so I can give them to you. I've got 1619 paraphernalia, T-shirts, stuff like that. So get ready to play. Now, I realize that I just made a huge mistake. So you guys got to bear with me for just 1 second. I just created a document with all of the stuff in here. And then I shut down my computer with all the questions, and now so, okay, but it's cool, man. It's cool because I know how to find it. So literally just give me 1 second here, and you guys get ready. Wow, I should last week I wrote the questions down, and so that's the thing about writing things down. When you don't use technology, it's probably a whole lot easier.
Can I do a trivia? Let me do a quick trivia about Ted Williams.
Oh, no, I'm scared of that.
So Ted Williams was very athletic in high school. He was the captain the senior year of what sports team in high school?
That's a good one. Actually, that's a good one, Lori.
Would it be A, football, B, soccer, or C, swimming?
Very good. That. And don't make me start bringing out trivia questions about you and Charles now, okay? Because you getting personal. So okay.
I want to see A, B, or C.
Okay. We got football, swimming, or soccer. Senior year of high school, folks. What was Ted Williams doing? Okay. I would blush, but I don't know if you could see it. So. All right. Who's gonna answer that question? Let me see who's in the comments. Now, give me 1 second because I'm going back to find my stuff while we're doing this. So just give me 1 second, and but put your names, put your answers in the comment section. First person to answer.
Rosalind said, "Can she play?"
Okay, no, I don't think Rosalind gets to play. That's not. I mean, she can play on this question. It's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not fair. Yes. Okay. So of course my wife answered the question. Duh. Okay. So yes. Swimming, folks. What I did senior year, I had actually broken my hip by junior year, and my football career was over by that point. But swimming, because it's just water, tended to work out a little better. So thank you, dear. That is so cheating, but I appreciate the question. Okay, I have now found my question. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. All right, question number 1. Question number 1. Okay, this week in the news, Netflix, all right? Netflix introduced which category to its programming? A, Black Lives Matter. B, shows you've watched too many times, or C, quarantine favorites. Black Lives Matter, shows you've watched too many times, or quarantine favorites. Put your answer in the chat box. The first person to put it in there, they get the point. Now you guys keep your own score. This is the honor system, okay? We got a pastor and a faithful woman of God here, so I'm gonna count on you guys to be honest here, okay? So we're waiting. Sometimes it's a little bit of a delay. So Netflix, Black Lives Matter, shows you watched too many times, or quarantine favorites. What did they put in the? Okay, we have Mrs. Regina Kreider on today, and she put Mrs. Regina Kreider put Black Lives Matter. Bernadette Glover, Principal Bernadette Glover, put Black Lives Matter as well. Wayne Owens, hello, brother Wayne Owens. However, it looks like Regina Kreider got it first, so she gets number 1 point. So we got 1 point for Regina Kreider. All right, we're going to 10. Let's see where we go. Okay, so she has 1 point. Let's see what is next. It actually was Black Lives Matter is their new category on Netflix. Black Lives Matter. Okay, here we go. Next question. Next question. Next question. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I literally had all this stuff sold together, and we had some sound issues, and then I kind of pulled out. Okay, here we go. All right. So next question. Let's see here. Okay. Number 2. What was officially banned this week at NASCAR events? What was officially banned this week at NASCAR events? I'm actually not even going to give you a multiple choice on this one. I think you all can get it. Okay. What was officially banned this week at NASCAR events? Here we go. Let's see who's first on this one. Okay. I'm sorry, Rosalind Williams, you can play. You just couldn't play that first one because you know me better than anybody, but you can play the rest of them, okay? Woo! Okay, Regina Carter came in again with the answer, but Tanisha Ricketts, who actually is a repeat player, I think Tanisha played a couple weeks ago, if I remember correctly, Tanisha Ricketts put the correct answer, which is the Confederate flag. So although Regina Carter came in, she got in too slow according to this. Now, listen, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. I know sometimes, look, it may not be because of your intellect, it may be because of your Wi-Fi. So don't shoot the message. Don't get upset with me. I don't need any comments on anybody DMing me later like you cheated me, this and that. I had a student that told me it was a conspiracy last week. Okay, he got very offended. I hope he's watching right now. But Tanisha Ricketts has this one, okay? All right, number two. Okay, so the correct answer is the Confederate flag. Next question. Which TV show was canceled this week after 32 seasons? Was it Cops, This Old House, or The Simpsons? Cops, This Old House, or The Simpsons was canceled this week after 32 seasons. Which show was that? Are you two are playing? You guys are keeping your own score over there?
Yes,
you guess?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I already won.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Of course you did. Okay.
I would be pretty quick on the draw with
Lori,
these questions.
if I forget, please make sure you tell Charles and the family I said hello, that I send all of my love to Zoe, Cameron, and Junior over there. Those are my people. So, and husband Charles, please send our love and best regards. If I forget to say that later.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do it, but not the husband.
Right. Okay, here we go. So we have Regina Carter again. She's got that good Wi-Fi, y'all. I tell you, Regina Carter got it first, and it is Cops is the answer. Bernadette Glover, you got it. Dolores, what's going on? How you doing, Dolores? She put The Simpsons, and Wayne put Cops. The correct answer is Cops, and Regina Carter got it again. Okay, she's got 2. Ricketts has 1. It's anyone's game, people. Anyone's game. A bill was introduced last week that would prohibit what? A, holding doors open for people. B, giving out free samples of food. Or C, nuking hurricanes. A, holding doors open for people. B, giving out free samples of food. Or C, nuking hurricanes. A bill was introduced this week that would prohibit one of these 3 activities.
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. All right.
Excellent.
I'm going to let a few more put their answers in. Give it a second. Oh, there she is. Okay. All right. I'm going to give a couple more seconds, folks. 5, 4, 3, 2. Clifford Brown's joined the party. What's up, Cliff? 2, 1. And Okay, all right. No, Mr. Gatlin, this is not a Zoom room. Brother Charles, there's hubby. What's up, man? How you doing? Dr. Harris, good to see you, man. Good to see you. We got to catch up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you this. Unfortunately, all of you have gotten this question wrong. Okay, a bill this week was put forward. The questions were that will prohibit what? Holding doors open for people, giving out free samples, or nuking hurricanes. The answer actually is nuking hurricanes, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? The President of the United States, no joke, said that to stop hurricanes, we should use nuclear weapons. And they put forth a bill in the Congress to say that they cannot use nuclear weapons. Okay? Not use. Clifford Brown is, I don't want to say what Clifford Brown is doing. Just be careful, Clifford, where you are right now watching the show. I'm not going to tell anybody, but Clifford's watching the show in a very dangerous place, so please be careful, Clifford. Okay, what's up, Claudel? How you doing? And Tanisha, yes, put the SMH because nobody got it. Nuclear weapons, no. Mike. Oh, okay, Michael wants to put nuclear weapons after the fact. Okay, no, he's okay, here we go. So, yes, nuclear weapons, can you believe that? That's nuts, isn't it? Nuking hurricanes. Now, did any of you guys get that one or no?
No.
I did not.
Okay, cool. Okay. See, I got honest guests here. Okay, cool. All right, here, check this out. The creator of which hit 90s TV show said that she regrets the lack of diversity in her cast. The creator of which 90s TV show said that she regrets the lack of diversity in her cast. Was it The Simpsons, Frasier, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or Friends? The Simpsons, Frasier, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or Friends. I have to try to keep a straight face so I don't give away the answer with my face. Okay? Here we go. Simpsons, Frasier, Buffy, or Friends. Let's go. Here we go. Okay, thank you, Cliff. I'm glad to know you're safe. Okay, the creator of this show from the 90s said that she regretted the lack of diversity. Now she realizes there was a lack of diversity. She didn't understand that back then. Right? Because there was no diversity in America in the 90s. It was just, Okay, the correct answer. Michelangelo put Buffy. Tanisha Ricketts put Friends. Regina Crider put Friends. Rosalind Williams put Friends. Charles Harris put Friends. The correct answer is Friends. And in my stream, Tanisha Ricketts came in first. So Tanisha gets a point. Tanisha has 2. Regina Crider has 2. It is a tie game. We are on question number 6, folks. It is anyone's game, people. Anyone's game. Here we go. If you just came in, guys, you only got to get to 3 to win. So don't quit. It is Friends. Yes, the creator of Friends said that she literally said, I wish I knew then what I know now. I would have made very different decisions about.
Has she never been to New York City?
Wah, wah, wah. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me be nice. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, Catherine Sullivan, the first American woman to walk in space, also achieved another milestone this week. What was it? A, she went to the ocean's deepest point. B, she found a hidden treasure. Or C, she swam across the Atlantic. Catherine Sullivan, the first American woman to walk in space, also did what this week? Went to the ocean's deepest point, found a hidden treasure, or swam across the Atlantic. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we got here. Okay. All right. Michelangelo put ocean. Treasure, Bernadette swam across the ocean. Charles Harris put the ocean's deepest point. And Michael Gatlin, I am sorry, but I'm going to have to give it to Charles Harris because you just put an ocean. And there are 2 questions that had an ocean. She could have swam across the ocean or gone to the deepest point. So I am terribly sorry, but Charles Harris, the husband of one of our panelists, no, I'm not cheating, people, okay? She did not pay me. Her husband got it right, okay? So now Harris is on the board. Charles Harris Jr., we are at number 7. Folks, we only got to get to 10. the bar is kind of low right now, okay? We only got two. You only got to get past two to get there, okay? So don't give up. Yes, she also did that. Okay, let me give you another question. Here we go. The former SNL cast member this former SNL cast member this week, said that he also has a video of police putting their knee on his neck. Okay? This former SNL cast member says that he also has a video from just a few weeks ago of police putting their knee on his neck. Do you guys want multiple choice? Do you want multiple choice?
Yes, they have like 500 cast members.
Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Okay. Was it? How do you pronounce his last name? Steve, was it Carroll or Carell? What is it? Do you guys know that guy?
Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell. Okay, was it Steve Carell, Chris Rock, Jay Farrow, or Eddie Murphy? Steve Carell, Chris Rock, Jay Farrow, or Eddie Murphy? And I got the answers coming in quick. Tanisha, yes or no is not one of the answers, dear. You know, why are you doing that? What are we talking about, Tanisha Ricketts? Come on now.
I think she wants multiple choice.
Oh, she wants multiple choice. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Chris.
She's with me with the tough Wi-Fi spot.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, and it looks like Cliff Brown said he's being discriminated against. I apologize, Cliff. He got that bad Wi-Fi out in the streets. I told you, don't blame me. Blame your provider. Now, the correct answer is Jay Farrow. Regina Kreider got that first. She is now in the lead again with 3. Okay, she got it first. Charles got it. Cliff got it. Rosalind got it. Yes, so you guys all got it. Unfortunately, though, we were not first. I do apologize, but you guys got it. Okay, next question. We are at number 8, folks. Number 8. Here we go. Okay. Primary elections were overwhelmed by a meltdown of new voting systems this week, resulting in hours-long lines at the polling places in which state? Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, or Illinois? Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, or Illinois? Primary elections were overwhelmed by a meltdown of new voting systems this week, resulting in hours-long lines at polling places in which state? Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, or Illinois? Here we go. How you guys doing so far?
Decent.
Okay, decent. You don't want to give me a score, huh? Hey, man, you don't have to give me a score, okay? Because if your score is too bad, they're going to be like, what's this guy doing on the panel? You know what I mean? They're going to be like, you know? So,
I think my score is all right, but my Wi-Fi may be in question.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I'm sure I'm being correct. So
Okay.
that's
Okay. All right, it looks like the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is Georgia. And it looks like, although Regina Kreider got it right, Clifford Brown got it right, Charles Harris got it right, it looks like Bernadette Glover got that one in first on my end. So Bernadette Glover gets a point. She is now on the board. Now, Bernadette, if you get the next 2 in a row, you could win the game. Tanisha, you need to get 1 to tie, and we'll do a tiebreaker if there's a tie. But right now, Regina Kreider is winning, okay? Yes, you are on the board, Bernadette. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. Next question, ladies and gentlemen. We are on question 9 of 10. Question 9 of 10. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, yes, he is back in the news, folks. He announced that it would start treating this country as an enemy and would cut off all relations. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un announced that it would start treating this country as an enemy and cut off all relations. Now, I don't know if I want to give you multiple choice or let you go ahead and do this, but I'm going to go ahead and give you multiple choice just because I'm a nice guy. Okay, here we go. Is it China, Japan, South Korea, or the United States? China, Japan, South Korea, or the United States? He will treat them as an enemy and cut off all relations.
excited.
I am. I get worked up about these things, guys. I'm nervous for them. I really am. Okay, folks. It looks like somebody's popped the answer in the board. Here we go. We got Cliff put China. Regina put China. Charles Harris put Japan. Tisha Ricketts put South Korea. I think we may have a couple more coming in. But the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is on the board. It is not China. It is not the United States. It is not Japan. It is South Korea. They have decided that they will have no more relations with the nations they share a peninsula with. Guys, it is a crazy, crazy time. Talked about the months of negotiations with the Trump administration mean nothing, is what he said. And so symbolically, it's scary. Substantively, I don't know. We'll see. But the answer is South Korea. Tanisha Ricketts got that right. She is tied for first. Tanisha Ricketts has 3. Regina Kreider has 3. Charles Harris has 1. Bernadette Glover has 1. All right? And now this is the final question, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if there's a tie, I'm going to actually open it back up for everybody for a bonus question. Whoever gets it right wins the game. How about that? And you say it's not fair? I say I make the rules, okay? What are you going to do? All right? So, that's how we're going to play this. Now, that's if these two, but if Tanisha Ricketts gets it right or Regina Kreider gets it right, that's it, folks. Okay? The game is over. Question number 10. Here we go. Last but not least. Okay. I am nervous for you folks. Okay. Okay, here we go. Final question. Final question. After days of controversial comments about race, the CEO and founder of which fitness company stepped down this week? After days of controversial comments about race, the CEO and founder of which fitness company stepped down this week? Was it CrossFit, Equinox, Gold's Gym, or Peloton? CrossFit, Equinox, Gold's Gym, or Peloton? Here we go. I hope I said all those correctly. Okay, I think I did, right? Okay, so the CEO of this, founder of this fitness company stepped down. CrossFit, Equinox, Gold's Gym, or Peloton? Here we go. This game is taking a long time today. I don't know. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. You guys are making it so complicated for me. Dang it.
Everybody wins. Everybody gets a book.
I know,
Put your
right?
mailing address.
You get a book. You get a book.
Okay. The correct answer is, ladies and gentlemen, CrossFit. And in my board, Charles Harris popped up first, and he got it. Although Regina Kreider got it correct, and Tanisha Ricketts, and Cliff Brown. So Charles Harris, guys, gets it. I mean, let me give you guys one final question, okay? I really want to get in this conversation, but, you know, one final question, okay? One final question, okay? Let's see if we can do this. All right, here we go, guys. I can't leave like that. It just really bothers me.
Now, is this only Tanisha and Regina can answer?
No, everybody can answer, but I mean, it's their game to lose, okay? But they keep messing around. This last question, Charles, somebody's gonna come up. Okay, here we go. I have not asked. Can you believe I did a whole news game and did not ask one question about you all's favorite president? Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Not one single Donald Trump question.
Why is that?
Shame.
I've been trying. I'm telling you, he sucks the life out of the news. I mean, he just they're always doing something. So my last question.
We did talk about nuking.
Oh, I did actually. I did mention. It's hard to go without talking about him. Okay, here we go. An official apologized for participating in the president's photo op last week at a church near the White House, saying, "I should not have been there." Who was that who said that? Was it Attorney General William Barr, Defense Secretary Mike Esper, Mark Meadows, the White House Chief of Staff, or General Mark Milley? Was it Attorney General William Barr, Defense Secretary Mark Esper, Mark Meadows, the White House Chief of Staff, or General Mark Milley? Guys, there are 3 Marks and a William. Pick one. Okay? Here we go. And don't just put Mark, by the way. You got to put, Okay, somebody put Obama. Lord have mercy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. The correct answer is General Miley, and Cliff Brown technically got it. He put General. Regina Kreider put second. She put General. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and give the game to Miss Kreider. Mrs. Kreider, congratulations to Regina Kreider. Okay, you got it. The last question. Otherwise, we'll keep on going, and the whole show is going to be this game. Please send me a direct message, and then we will talk about.
Might not be a bad idea, Ted. That's really a fun game.
Say it again. What'd you say?
I said that might not be a bad idea. It's a really fun game.
Yeah. Actually, maybe we will do a whole hour next time, all right? But I want to hear from you guys, okay? So that was in response to my favorite president. Okay, got it. Oh, okay. I got it, Cliff. Thank you very much. I caught it. He goes Obama. That's his favorite president. Okay. So, yes, Virginia Kreider has won the game. Congratulations. And please, I've got a audio book that we just completed called Your Life in 4K, Fulfilling the Destiny That Is Uniquely Yours. I've been in quarantine, folks, and I've been writing away. So I've got some stuff that's motivational. I got some political stuff. So just hit me up and I'll send you something for free just because I got it. And what else I'm gonna do with it? Make my kids read it. So go ahead and I'll send it to you. So thank you so much. Before I begin our conversation, just want to make a couple quick announcements before I forget. First of all, Miss Rashada Dawan is in our green room. She is waiting to join us after this conversation. Rashada is a phenomenal artist and actress who has toured with The Lion King and has a daughter who is in The Shy on Showtime. So Rashada is like the bomb, and I'm really looking forward to having her. So as soon as we talk about some politics, we're going to bring her in shortly after that. This Friday, Juneteenth, we are doing 1619, The Journey of the People, at the House of Hope in Chicago. We will be doing a live, socially distanced, empty room performance on Facebook and YouTube, and then streaming also on WJYS. Please join us at 6 this Friday. I think that is it. We're also going to be doing a 1619 course this summer. Online. If you're interested, please let me know in the comments section, and I will let you know how you can sign up for it. It'll be a lot of fun, and we're going to use the play to teach history, particularly because in this crazy season, we need to understand our history to understand where we are today. Okay? All right, I'm done. Lori, Chris, you guys are policy experts. You guys are working in the community. Lori, I want to come to you first because I want to talk about the issue of rent. Now, I understand that in this country, now think about this, we have gone now, what it is, I believe it's 12 weeks, actually it might be a little slightly more than that, 12 weeks that the government shut down across the country. People have not been working consistently. We received a one-time stimulus check from the federal government, $1,200. And then everyone else was either to apply for the PPP program if they could get in and or go through their state's unemployment insurance services. And a lot of people, millions of people have fallen through the cracks. You're working on the issue of rent. You're working on the issue of people surviving during this pandemic. Tell our audience what is going on, how bad is the problem, and what's being done to address it.
Thanks, Ted. This is a very important conversation point that we need to talk through, and more people need to be understanding what this means for our communities. But I do want to begin today by acknowledging the events of the last several weeks and the systemic racism resulting in the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and many other Black Americans. As a Native Hawaiian and a Filipino, and as a nation, we should all be pursuing racial justice and equity, and housing justice must be a part of that discussion because systemic racism also results in homelessness, housing instability, and, as we have come to find out through data, the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on communities of color. It is unjust that we can predict a child's health, wealth, and overall well-being based upon the zip code they were born in. And it's also unjust that the zip codes with the worst outcomes have always been a disproportionate share of low-income people of color who are living in them. So these racist and discriminatory housing policies and programs have led to the overrepresentation of people of color in communities policymakers continue to neglect, which brings us to what is currently happening because of COVID. So even though the moratorium has delayed rent, it has not canceled rents. And so in front of Congress right now is a large bill that passed at the House. It's now sitting, waiting for the Senate to take on, called the HEROES Act. And it does include over $100 billion for emergency rental assistance. That rental assistance is key because when you look at the economic impact that rental assistance could do, is that it would help to bring to arrears and paid in full to landlords, because we know that landlords in particular, whether they're small or multifamily, are impacted by not being able to pay rent. And it's a cascade of an economic crisis. So if I'm a renter and I can't pay my rent, my landlord then can't pay his mortgage or can't pay the property fees, can't pay taxes, and then we can't pay our teachers, we can't pay our how we do sanitation, and so it's an economic circle. So investing in how we're able to address this rental crisis is going to be very key. And so one of the things that we're working on is something called, we're calling it, and excuse if this is PG-13 at least, the Big Ass Rental Assistance Program, something that's never been done in our country before that really addresses this. And what we're calling for HUD to do is to demand for communities who would receive these dollars through various ways. It's called Emergency Solutions Grants, CDBG, Community Development Block Grants, and other ways, that they begin to target communities who have been disproportionately disenfranchised from being able to access those dollars prior. So prior to COVID, 3 out of 4 households that were eligible for federal rental subsidy assistance for housing could not receive that subsidy because of the scarcity of funds. So they were already in dire straits. And now after this type of economic crisis, they are further into this hole that they can't get out of. There are over, I'm looking at my notes here, 23 million people who make up 10.3 million low-income households who spend more than 50% of their income for housing. And so we have the programs that could help these households be able to sustain rent, sustain even mortgage, getting access to mortgages, but we continue as a country not to make housing a priority. And now more than ever, what are they asking us all to do? Well, what did they ask us to do? They said shelter in place, stay quarantined. Well, that means housing is healthcare. And if you don't have housing, then I can't find a safe place to be. And now I can be exposed to COVID, or I can threaten public health with COVID because I don't have sustainable, stable access to housing.
Laura, let me ask you, what is that number again? You said, what is the exact number of people that are spending 50% of their income on rent?
23 million people who make up 10.7 low-income households. Provide more than half of their income. And so when you think about that, if you have to, and if you look at that, I wish I could share my screen because I have a great graph and I'll send it to you later as a follow-up. The less money that you make, the more you have to spend on housing because the lack of affordable housing in our country is past due in terms of a crisis.
Right.
And so when you have to spend half or more of your income on housing, then you can't save. You can't get your daughter SAT tutoring. You can't go to a karate class so that you can get healthy. You can't join a basketball league because you're spending more money on housing than other households. And those other households, and it's just about the access of available programs, and we're not investing in them in the right way. Right. And then additionally, the lack of affordable housing in every zip code.
So I'm going to come to you, Chris, in a second. And I want you, Lori, though I see a comment that I want you to answer after we get done, that I thought the rule was not to exceed 20% on housing. So hang on to that, and I'm going to answer that later. But Chris, you are not only someone who's worked in the faith community, but you've been a political strategist, right? And I'm very interested in public policy. My background is in public policy. And so, what ought we be advocating for at the national level and local level to deal with these issues? This is really crazy. And I will tell you, I know from looking and studying international policy that there are a number of nations, Canada, the UK, that have actually made sort of consistent payments to people during this pandemic. So, what would you see if you were in a situation, Chris, where you were making policy nationally? What ought we be doing around this issue of inequality, particularly as it relates to this pandemic?
Yeah, so I think there are a number of things related to policy, but if I stay in my lane, it would be more around the politics and the kind of like the strategy of this. And I think that we have to take this moment as an opportunity to really reimagine how we organize ourselves. I mean, we are in a constitutional moment, right, where we are negotiating some things about how we're going to exist going forward as a society. And one of the things I think is very problematic right now is that this kind of language that I'm using feels like in the public discourse that it belongs to the far left. And it can't, right? It doesn't matter where you are on the political spectrum. That's going to impact your philosophy around how we reimagine. But the current system is indefensible. When you have the high number of people spending 50% of their income on housing, when an African American male literally has, in some states, a higher chance of being killed by police than contracting COVID-19. Like this, a lot of the things that we're doing just don't work right now. And we have to engage this constitutional moment and really begin to have broad, big ideas about really rethinking and reimagining how we're organizing ourselves and how we're doing public policy on a whole host of issues, from housing to health care to public safety to education, all these things. We really need to engage in that conversation. And I think that those who consider themselves moderate or conservative are doing themselves a disservice not to engage this conversation, because it doesn't have to be, the language doesn't need to engage or belong to the far left. The whole spectrum of the nation has to come to the table and start to really rethink how we're doing things.
So, Lori,
in big ways.
I love it. I love the idea that this is an opportunity for big ideas, for real social change. One of the things that I've learned from studying politics for many years is that, there's this old saying, you should never waste a good crisis, because I have learned, unfortunately, we really only make policy in crises. I mean, outside of crisis,
right,
we're not even thinking about a lot of these policies. We're not thinking about, how we ought to deal with people's healthcare issues or rental issues, or, I'll get into this maybe a little bit later if we have time, this whole question of taking down these Confederate statues and things like that. I mean, I'm really happy that Nancy Pelosi has put forth this plan to take down the Confederate statues in the Capitol. But I was just thinking, like, you didn't see them last week? Like, you didn't see them last month? You didn't see them last year? I mean, you were just walking by, and they were there, but I guess, I didn't, but crisis now, let me do something.
Yep.
And so on the one hand, I guess I'm kind of hopeful about that, but also I'm kind of irritated and angry that that's what it takes. Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, so what does that cost them, though? What does that cost the system to take down some damn statues? Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Yeah.
We don't ask for too little, or we ask for too little. We don't ask for enough. This is the time where we ask for more, like we have never done before. I remember, I think the federal level is important, but I think what we miss, especially when you're talking about what's happening on the streets, right? That nitty gritty people coming to a head. People are trying to challenge, like, where do I go with this frustration, with this anger? I have no outlet for that, so they take to the streets. And really, when you look at local politics, you know, you elect your council members and you elect your mayor because you're really thinking about, I want to make sure my trash is picked up. I want to make sure the potholes are, you know, filled. Well, guess what? If you've done, we all know now, right, after some research and people have done to awaken to the fact that our mayors appoint the police, the chief of police. They are the actual bosses. They create the policies and the guidelines that rule the police department. And so what happens at the local level is so critical. And so we're so focused on being, I feel like it's a head diversion of, let's look at what's happening at the federal level. Let's look at what Trump is saying and doing, to us focusing on where we can make impactful change. And it starts at school boards. It starts with your local elected officials. And then when we can't get that right, then that is when the federal government does step in and say, you guys are taking way too long. You can't get this right. And we're now going to start doing this work. But everybody's important. But that local, no one is seeing that until just recently. That local is as important.
But we're really seeing the opposite. So I probably am what you would call a federalist, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I really am convinced that without the federal government playing a large role, particularly in areas of civil rights and equality, we're screwed. I mean, that's just the reality. I mean, history has proven over and over again, you know, leaving it to the states' rights, they're not trying to help us. And so what I realize is that in this situation, we have leadership that is doing exactly that. Like, the president literally said, I take no responsibility for this crisis. Like, literally. States, you figure it out. You know, and then, but what's crazier, and I want you to hop on this, Chris, in a second, but what's even crazier is that even the states are saying, well, let the localities figure it out. And you know what the localities are doing? They're going, ooh, let the businesses figure it out. The mayor of Las Vegas goes, well, yeah, we're opening casinos. And they go, well, how are you going to protect people? And she goes, well, I'm sure the casinos will figure it out themselves. And so you see a real abdication of responsibility at every level of government, similar to what you saw in the Hurricane Katrina catastrophe, by the way, which to me, at the end of the day, has poor people, marginalized people suffering the most. Chris, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Ted, that you're hitting the nail right on the head. These kinds of big national moments, I think, do require some federal leadership. But I do think that what Lori was saying is so important, because you get caught in a moment like this when local leaders are just not used to being held to account on these issues. And so passing the buck is kind of what they do. And so it passes all the way down, like you said, Ted, to the individual business owner, the individual homeowner, and it's like, what is the government there for? So I do think that in order to get where we need to be, you got to start on some of these local issues with local government. I mean, I'll give one prime example on police reform right now, and those who know me and have been keeping up with my thoughts know that I've kind of been Team Lori for a minute here. But to see the mayor stand up and talk in very strong words, which was great, about the need to reform policing in Chicago, but then have the solution be, and I'm going to have my team draw up legislation for Springfield. It's like, wait a minute. You're the mayor. There are dozens of things that you could do almost immediately to begin to change the impact. So while I support the idea of licensing, and I think Springfield should consider that, but to have the mayor say, I'm going to write legislation for Springfield. Well, are you going to fire the cops that were lounging in a congressman's office while there was looting? Well, we're going to investigate that. We're going to look into it. You know, are you going to change some of the regulations? Are you going to lay down a bright line on police contract negotiations? We're looking at those things the important, but my action step, I'm going to write legislation for Springfield.
Right.
It can't work that way. Everybody's got to be held accountable, starting at the local level all the way up.
You know, I got to tell you guys a quick personal story related to that. So you guys have probably, it's a national story. In fact, the story about the police officers lounging in Congressman Bobby Rush's office during the looting, kind of a national story. A friend of mine from New York shared it with me, and I was like, you know, from New York, like showing me what was going on down the street in Chicago. I was like, oh my goodness. Do you guys realize, crazy fact, that I was part of the team of about 4 people that was cleaning up Congressman's office the next morning, and we took pictures in there and stuff like that, and I had no idea. They looted the Congressman's office as well. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff still there. They had knocked out the windows and things like that. And so I was just sort of helping a friend clean up his business the next morning, and so we were in the Congressman's office, and none of us, as we were cleaning up, none of us had any idea that there were police in the very room we were cleaning up just hours before that. I had no idea. And so the story hit me really hard because I was like, I was there. And it's tragic. So I can tell you that this has been a horribly frustrating time. Now, I want to shift a little bit because we were talking about homelessness and the COVID crisis, but I want to talk about the rioting, and I want to talk about this protest movement. This George Floyd situation feels a little different, folks. And I hope that, I'm not sure if you feel like it's different or not. I'm not suggesting that I'm horribly hopeful, because we've had 400 years to get this right, and now people are like, oh, there's racism in America? Oh my gosh. I mean, really? Like, you know, the NFL, oh, well, you know, we were wrong about Kaepernick. You just realized that last week, that you're wrong about Kaepernick? So I guess I want to ask you guys, are you hopeful at all? You know, there's an international sort of component to this George Floyd protest movement, which is exciting. But in your work, both of you have worked on the ground, worked in communities. Lori, you know, my goodness, you know, one of the things that's most impressive about your resume was that you led the response for the city of Orlando after the Pulse nightclub shooting. I mean, so that is a huge, huge deal. You know, I used to have you come speak to my classes about the work you were doing in Haiti with Habitat for Humanity and those sorts of things. So you've been in crises. You understand this. Is this different? Will there be change, or are we talking about business as usual?
So I'm going to go back to my earlier statement. The things that I've seen so far hasn't cost anybody anything. Putting Black Lives Matter as a topic on Netflix hasn't cost Netflix anything. It hasn't cost anything to take down statues. It hasn't cost anything for the Confederate flag to no longer be flown at NASCAR. These are all things that they're trying to give to subdue, and it's not enough. I remember having a conversation and going back to kind of local mayors and kind of connecting that. I worked on mayoral staffs at major cities, one of the top 10 major cities in the country, and in the mid-city. And in 2016, when Charlottesville happened, the mayor that I was working for was away from the office for a week. And at that time, he still doesn't handle his own Twitter. He does that with communication staff. And that communication staff person that I was really trying to say, hey, we should say something about Charlottesville. You know, Trump has said these things. We should come out something. We come out really strong when it comes to reacting to what happened at Pulse and LGBTQ. Everybody thinks of Orlando as Orlando United and we're doing all these things. He said, well, now here's an opportunity for us to show the love, right? Orlando love. That's all people began to say. So let's show the love. And I remember having that conversation, and it was a big pushback of, we don't want to engage in any of that. That's none of our business. And I kept saying, Heather Meyer's body has been dead for 3 days, and you have yet to say something. What's hitting and what's being godsmacked at every level of local government right now is the mayors they became mayors because they're like, oh, I'm just going to fill the potholes and make sure the trash gets picked up, like I said, and do some economic development. They are not ready for this. And they didn't know that they were going to have to deal with systemic issues starting right there at their front door. And I am here for it. because what this is going to do is start to churn and evolve new leaders in our community who are going to be wanting to address what's happening at the federal level, at the local level, and saying that may be what Trump says, but here in our community, this is what we stand for, and this is what we do. And you're seeing that in Seattle, you're seeing that in Portland, where they're saying it's a real distinct difference from the tone that's being set nationally to the tone that we're going to be setting at the community, neighborhood, and block by block level.
Yeah, so, Cliff Brown says in the comments section there are some great things happening as a result of protests. I'm not hopeful that real permanent change will take place overall. I think symbolically it's an exciting time. I mean, there are people talking about taking down Confederate statues and flags, and companies talking about new diversity initiatives and how they're down for Black Lives Matter. So there's the sort of the spirit has changed, right? However, to your point, I think that the real question will be, once again, policy. What policy happens? What does it cost? What will we do? And that will be the gauge. Are we going to start talking about reparations? Right?
Yeah.
Which is like huge, right? So, people are terrified of this word and, terrified of what that means.
I'll get over
it. We have this, African Americans in this country have 1/10 the wealth of white Americans. 1/10, right? That did not come by, people being lazy or not working hard enough. It came by literally 400 years of systematic and institutional oppression and subjugation. And how do we catch up, right? And how do we deal with not only, inequities around that? I mean, not to spread the injustice train here, but I'd like to see the NFL not only get your boy Kaepernick back, start pouring into some serious financing into some of these communities that they are pulling people from. I'd like to see them get rid of the Washington Redskins piece while we're on this. Let's go ahead and do it. Y'all want to, you know what I'm saying? Y'all want to do? Let's go ahead and do it all at this point.
For enough.
Yes. And then for me, I'm like, okay, well maybe there's some things happening. So we're gonna wrap up here in a second, guys. You guys are awesome. It's so good to have you all. Thank you guys for watching tonight. I'm gonna let our guests say a few more words here, but if you are interested in being involved in this conversation, please send us a comment in the comment section. We have Rashada Dawan coming up in just a few minutes, who is a phenomenal actress and performer. And I know Rashada, she has something to say about this too. I should have brought her on in this part too, but I know she has something to say. So we might be talking about protests for a few more minutes anyway. But make sure you guys join us on this. And in Chicago, if you are engaged in some community work, please let me know. I'd love to help support. We're doing community cleanup. We're doing some ministry stuff virtually. We're kind of just trying to do stuff in the community. I know Chris's church is doing work. If you're down in Florida, I know Lori is engaged very heavily in that area politically. And so there's something for all of us to do. We can all kind of play a role in some way. So, Chris, why don't you let me know, let's talk about in closing, we haven't talked about the presidential race very much today. Yeah. I really want to talk about that, right? I can't do this. So, Chris, do you think that this crisis, COVID-19 crisis, the racial crisis, helps or harms our current president? Do you think that we are in a situation where Biden is looking good? I want to close out by talking about that, and we'll talk about it more later. But I can't resist this conversation. So, Chris, go ahead, please.
So, I think I might be in the minority on this, but I actually think that this election is destined to be very close. I think that the crises that we're facing kind of helps and harms both sides, because the country right now is so polarized, and on both sides of the conversation, the emotion has been intensified, and I don't think there's a lot of swaying folks from a policy perspective. I think this election is going to be very emotional. It's going to be very much about the bases in both parties. It's going to be a tactical game, a turnout game, a money game, and so I think it's going to be very, very close. I hope not to be super partisan, But I do hope that Democrats don't think that these crises are going to just give the election away. It's going to be very tactical, and folks are going to have their stuff together.
So if you were advising Biden, you wouldn't advise, as I've heard many people say, that Biden should just shut up, be quiet, and just let the election happen, because if he just shuts up and is quiet, then Trump will destroy himself. You don't buy that, right, Chris?
I don't buy that.
Okay.
I do not buy that.
Okay, we have to give people a reason to vote. Lori, what do you think about this?
Oof. I thought I knew a lot about politics until 2016.
Didn't we all, right? Didn't we all?
I think it's going to be really close. I can tell you here in Florida, in 2018, our gubernatorial race, we had Andrew Gilliam and Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, Republican, Gilliam, the first African American Democratic nominee for governor. And we turned out. We had mobilized like never before. We had a lot. We had super much money, and we had a strong grounding. And we lost by just a percentage. And I have a very strong feeling we are headed in the same direction as my fellow panelists have said. That it's going to be a very close election. I'm hoping that we will edge it out, that there will be enough emotional response from people to get out the vote, and hopefully some of the things that we saw in Georgia is a big concern. I think that is going to impact certain areas where we need to vote out. I'm predicting that Biden will win. Trump, of course, is going to take this to court and say that it was, he hates losing, right? So he's going to make it very difficult for him to leave office. But I predict that he's going to finally leave and he's going to start his own network.
Good prediction. You know what? You probably are right. Lori Harris, thank you. I think our brother Chris was having a little internet problems, so he dropped out, not purposely, but it's a great transition point. Thank you so much. I would love to have you back sometime. We didn't even talk about, my gosh, you mentioned the Florida race. I'd love to pick your brain about that and where Gilliam is now and some other issues. So we'll have to definitely bring you back. Thank you so much, Lori. We appreciate you. Have a great night.
Thanks so much, Ted. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring Rashada Dawan into the conversation here in just 1 second.
For a second, baby. I gotta take
but what I want to do is remind you guys of all of the wonderful things that are happening with the not only the work in the community, our artistic work, whatever, the 1619 program for Juneteenth. Also, new book out we're excited about. But I want to share with you next week. I just got confirmation that Mara Enya will be joining us next week, which I'm super excited about. Mara Enya, who ran for mayor here in Chicago, and she'll be joining us next week along with a couple other guests. So we are super excited. Rashada, I think Rashada's coming in. I just need to get your face on here, Rashada.
And now, yeah.
Okay, so I just want to, if we can get your face on, we'd love to see you. But if we can't, well, I guess we could talk like this. I'm not sure, but we'll have you come on in. As soon as you pop in, we'll start talking. But I got to tell you guys, as we're waiting for her, this is a critical time. And Simone Green put in the comment section, mass voter registration, so critical, so critical. If we do not come out to vote, if we do not register to vote, if we are not pushing, how can we possibly expect change to happen? This show is called Change. It's about change. Change your life. Change the world. I am a firm believer that this is about not only beginning with us, right? As Michael Jackson's saying, starting with the man in the mirror. If we can change our own lives, which is part of what my work is. This book I just wrote, about kind of having a healthy, balanced life. But then also, how do we change the community? It is so important. And I just am a firm believer that we are able to make a difference. I've got this wonderful book. I mean, I'm pubbing all these books, but I pub my own book. I got a really cool book that's not my own book that I've been reading that I love. I'm going to go ahead and pub it here right now. It's called How Change Happens. And it's basically why some, you probably can't see it with the light, but why some social movements succeed while others don't, by Leslie Crutchfield. It's awesome. It's an awesome look at a number of social movements over the last decade or so and why they have won, why the LGBTQ movement won, why the no smoking movement won, why the NRA won against people who were fighting for the position I believe in, which is gun control, but why they were able to win. And I think there is some strategy there. Once again, if you guys are interested, join us this summer. We're doing a 1619 course that will help us to figure out these social justice questions and how we can empower one another to change our communities, guys. I think that, change just starts with you, and we all can make a difference. Now, Rashada is ready, folks, so let's go ahead and bring her into the room. Rashada Dawan, what's going on, sister? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You look beautiful. You look fine. She's trying to
Oh,
get
thank you.
get
This whole thing falls off. I just want y'all to know it's natural hair and it's a wig cap.
Hey,
So.
if it falls off, probably the viewership will go all up because people like to know what people really look like and stuff like that. So
I don't mind at all.
I know you're a very real person, so you probably be like, hey, whatever, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
What it is.
Yes. So everyone, Rashada Dawan is our artistic guest tonight, and I know Rashada is what people don't know about Rashada is that she is an educator sister as well. She's not just an artist, but you have a master's degree in. And what is your master's degree in?
Human performance and training. So
Yeah,
like
so-
consulting, curriculum design,
Right.
instructional
So
design.
Rashada's like she's multifaceted and multi-talented, so she could spit on the political and social tip as well. So I'm going to give you a chance. I'm sure you want to say something. I will. I know you're probably sitting in the green room like, oh, I got to, I want to get into this as well. But I want to tell you a little about who she is. Remember, every week, guys, we do politics, but then it's a Saturday night. I like to have artists, and I like to kind of have some performances. We've had a play, we had clips from 1619, we've had Marcello Lee and Leslie Michelle and Shannon Stiles and other artists who've come on. We'll have some more artists. But Rashada is phenomenal, and I just want to tell you a little about her. Rashada, I mean, I've got this long, beautiful, wonderful resume here, but I'm going to tell you a little kind of that and some other things. So Rashada graduated from FAMU, and she began working in theater. After that, she worked with Chicago's ETA Theater. She's worked with the Black Ensemble Theater, the Bailiwick Theater, the Chicago Shakespeare Theater. She's got a graduate degree in human performance and training consulting. She has toured with the Lion King. She has also, my goodness, worked with other Disney stuff. She's been on Chicago PD. She was in the film. What was it called? I'm trying to find. It was. Give me a second. The film Shameless, and also Hope Springs Eternal. She's a great mom. I know that her daughter is actually one of the stars of the Shy on Showtime, and just a wonderful, wonderful person. Rashada and I have connected in ministry and art over the years. We've got many mutual friends. She got a beautiful dog. You know, that's always says something about somebody about their dog. Rashada, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
We are so excited to have you. Before we get into your career and why art is important in these times of stress and those sorts of things, why don't you tell me what you think about some of the issues we were talking about before we get into your artistry?
Well, first, let me pay my political greeting and introduction by saying thank you for having me today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing your research and at least being able to pull up my background. I really appreciate that. Okay, a few things. A lot of the question is around how we can sustain change. And what I've been getting is that the only way to sustain it is to look at it a bit different and make it a human issue instead of a race issue. I think separately, Black people, white people, brown, Asian, Native American, everyone needs to go to their corners and get a collective voice. And that means like go back to the root of who you are. So like, what are your customs? What are your cultures? What do you stand for? What do you not like? What do you want? And what do you need? And then come back and we talk to each other and say, what do we want and what do we need from each other? And from there, you can start the conversation. But I think it's some very hard conversations that a lot of people don't really want to share because the hard truth around Black people is it's a secret, quiet secret that we really don't want anyone to know. But we don't know our worth. We really don't. You can say it's not our fault. But at some point, when do you just shut up and do the work? You keep blaming it on money and racism and slavery, and the accountability is just as well on us to now do better.
Hmm.
Same thing for white people. The secret hush hush thing that they are shameful of is that they are afraid to lose. And so because they're afraid to lose, there's this thing that like they'll just want to say, hey, you guys, tell me how to treat you. Instead of, hey, white people, go talk to each other. Find out what you want and need. Find out what you're afraid of. And then come back and say, here's the truth. It's hard though. And that's beyond politics. If you get to the root of a human matter, then politics can be easy. You can't just change policy and then try to hold people accountable when they haven't checked their hearts or their minds.
Well, very, very well said. It's interesting because, I work in ministry and in the political space, and it's you are so right in saying that we have to do better. But when we start talking about policy, it's so challenging to translate that, particularly when you're dealing with people who want to sort of blame victims and that kind of thing. And yet, we all know intrinsically we've got to do better in local communities as well, right? We have to take advantage of resources and that sort of thing. But that comes from changing culture, and it comes from changing our mindset, and it comes from changing who we are on the inside. How do we do that?
I think we have to identify who our real God is.
Hmm.
You're a spiritual person, you're a religious person, so you know. We go to church to get told things. Really, it's just reminders. It's not like we're hearing things for the first time. We know. It's just that we rather the ownership be on the pastor telling it us instead of us going home and actually believing and doing what we're reading and learning about. We don't hold ourselves to that standard, and it's because, oh, it's so much easier. Let's just put it on Jesus. When Jesus said, no, I'm putting it on you. I'm here for you. I'm here as the example so you can do it. Everything I can do, you can do. I am a friend. We are friends. Don't wash my feet. That's what the word says. So at the end of the day, and you and I have talked about this before, so it becomes, who is our God? And who are we personally accountable to? Until we figure that out and have a really gut bucket, honest conversation about that, I don't think we can do it.
Hmm. Okay, so I'm tired. Okay, I'm tired. I say I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I want, we are definitely all kind of, I think, struggling, suffering through PTSD, through all of this, this killing of black bodies, the sickness in the country around the COVID-19 crisis. What I want to do is I want to talk about something that's on a smaller scale that we have control over, and that is living in the destiny that is ours. I just wrote my third book, finished last month, and this is my first.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. My first foray into sort of the self-help world. And I don't consider
Okay.
myself in any way that way, but
Okay.
I do believe that it's important for all of us to live in our best space and live out our destiny. And so, this effort is an audio book, so it's short, and so people can just listen to it. But I am a firm believer that people have got to live. They have to be self-actualized. They have to live in their calling spiritually. And I think a lot of what they are wrestling with in life is if you hate yourself, it is very difficult to love somebody else. I mean, let's just keep it real. It really, really is. But you have lived a life where you've lived dreams that lots of people go, wow, right? And I know, knowing you, you're still you hustling, you grinding, you pushing. You ain't resting. How did you first know that you could make a living as an artist, which is something that's so difficult to do? How did you know that God had given you these gifts of performing? And how did you find a way to sort of put that together and put yourself out into the world and then begin literally traveling around the world sharing your gift for people? A lot of people wrestle with that. How did you make that step?
I had to trust my inner God. And I also had to trust my daddy God. So I didn't make the earth circle the sun, but I know God does. I had to actually trust that God and quit my job. I knew that I was unhappy. I knew that my boss was starting to get intimidated by me, at least from my perspective. And I couldn't do a good job. I couldn't do the job I wanted to do because I began to get micromanaged. And so I quit. And the first time I walked out of that office and walked down the street with those boxes, it was like it was a pursuit of happiness moment. That's how I felt. And then I woke up the next morning and was like, I quit my job. So I was terrified. I had a mortgage. Jan was about 3. And I treated myself like a client. I consulted. So I treated myself like a client. And I went to a nearby Chicago Public Library, went into one of those rooms where they have the whiteboard. And I said, okay, what's my mission? What's my vision? What's my objective? What's my goal? So you know that you're a business person, so you understand that when you start outlining things like that, you get a timeline, it gives you a direction. You also, and it's biblical because the word says, make a vision, make a plan, so you get to have a vision, you see it. And I gave myself 1 year. So I had to make a very tough decision in that library room that day because I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 1 year to do this artist thing. If it doesn't pop, God, I'm going to go back to corporate. Well, I knew I had to say, am I okay with sacrificing that I couldn't get the car I wanted, that I may not get the big house I want? Am I willing to lay it all out on the line for the sake of this artistry? And I had to say yes. So that means if Starbucks called me the next day and said, we want you to be the director of training and development, I have to say no. And was I ready to do that? Because I said, I trust you, God. And I'm telling you, it got down to the wire. I'll never forget, I was driving down the expressway in tears because I didn't have any money. I was not working. I felt so insignificant. And I was like, I don't know how to do this, God. And God said, do you trust me? I said, I trust you with my whole heart. Okay, don't worry about it. And I'm telling you to the date, the year that I made that commitment, I joined the Lion King today. That same month. And literally ever since then, now what you don't know, because everybody loves it, that's my lead in. She's been in the Lion King. But I lost my mind in the Lion King. Because I was traveling the road for 4 years, homeschooling my child, making a lot of money, but living out of other people's homes through Airbnbs. I didn't like the hotel because it was depressing. I felt alone. And then a lot of my people were dying and I couldn't come back home to their funerals. So it was a lot going on of stress and grieving. So much so that I was super vulnerable and I had to come home because I got sick. And when I got home again, I was terrified. I called and begged them, y'all don't understand. I gotta go show brown little black girls that they can make it. What you mean? They paid me out. But here I was at home from ground zero. The directors didn't know me. My friends were far removed, and I was at the bottom. I had to get back up. I went out and got back on the grind and found that agent, started auditioning. I remember before I got the line that I was auditioning like crazy for stuff that I didn't even qualify for, but I had to get used to the word no. Because I couldn't let it take me down like that. That's what auditioning is, So when I started back to ground zero after the tour, I was auditioning, trying to get agents. I finally got an agent. And then it was a slow trick. I had just bought a house too, so I was trying to make sure I paid those payments. And it was just like gig after gig until now I'm here. And that kid that was traveling around the world with me is now talking to large groups of people about how to do what she's doing. So see, you can't tell me that without God, that you can't tell me that God is amazing. That's the bottom line. Whether you believe it's Jesus, whether you believe it's Buddha, but whether you believe it's Muhammad, all one into me. You got to get clear about that within yourself. So it helps me now that I know that I trust God without a shadow of a doubt. I forgive anybody, down to my father, my friends, anybody. And now it frees me to do what I think God has called me to do. And that's why I say it's the humanity. Because that's not according to whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. That's not according to whether you're black or white, or if you're younger or older. Just a human.
That's an amazing story. I didn't know all of that. I do know the audition life and the struggle of the audition life. My mom put me into this kind of work when I was a preteen, and I remember going on auditions and feeling the ups and downs of rejection. For years, and getting to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore because I just was tired of being rejected. But then you get a good gig, and then you get back and forth, and I admire anyone that can persevere through that, because you have to have a very strong sense of yourself and who you are and whose you are to be in that space. And I can tell you that for anybody who's out there listening that might want to consider doing the arts or anything like that, it looks so glamorous on stage. It looks so glamorous when you go to the Lion King and you see the Rashada Dawan or someone else when they're singing, but then when the show's over, there's life back there, and that life oftentimes is interesting, and it's not as glamorous as people imagine. Why did you persevere?
You said how?
Why?
Why did I persevere? Because I made a commitment. When I told God that I would do this with my whole heart for a year, and He blessed me like that, she blessed me like that, it blessed me like that, I couldn't turn back. You can't unknow what you know. You can pretend, but I know without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I think it's really really amazing. Whatever your dream is in life, folks who are watching, it is not going to be easy. And I'm a firm believer, and I speak about this a lot, that you can have dreams at 10, 30, 50, 70, 80. We often believe that dreams are for young people, and I love sharing the story of my cousin Christine Houston, who I'll have on here soon, as well, who created the TV show 227, and had never written anything until she was in her 40s. Had never written anything, and she's got this hit TV show on NBC. On my YouTube page, I have this hour-long interview with her. So it is possible. We all have dreams. We all have things that God places on our hearts.
Can I tell you this one story too, Ted?
Sure.
When, so I have a 15-year-old you're talking about, but I also have a 3-year-old. And one of the things when I got pregnant, because I got home and I was starting to pick up speed, and then I got pregnant. I was horrified because I mean, what team would I have as a mother being pregnant on stage? Like, then I'd have to start back over again, right? Now I got to be honest and transparent, because that's what humans do. That's what authentic humans do. They just tell the truth. I considered abortion because I was like, I don't want this. I mean, I don't want this. I'm so afraid. I don't know what my life is gonna look like. And I heard Holy Spirit say, gotta stick this one out. I cried day and night. And mind you, I was working. I literally, God blessed me to play Gloria the Hippo. And I was 7 months pregnant in a show. I had this baby, right? And same father. And I remember that we stopped working for a moment to make sure that we could do what we could with the baby when she got home. And then Genesis got a call to go to an audition. The baby was 6 weeks old. We weren't working. Genesis landed that national TV show and had never acted professionally in her entire little life. What I'm saying is, if you make a commitment to God to stick it out, I promise you, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard the good that's going to come your way. Because I didn't see that coming. They caught that baby in 3 times. On the third time, I was like, oh, they must really want you. The girl gets on set, y'all. And before you know it, she acting like she been doing this her whole life. There was no fear. She got on set as a professional. I couldn't even talk to her. She didn't want to talk to me. She knew all her lines. She kept doing it over and over and over again as if she was made for it. And I watched her in awe. Get this. So I'm sitting there first thing. She's working with Alex, the young man who was in Moonlight. I see his face and I go, man, that little boy looks so familiar. I turn to his mom and I go, is this your first time doing this? He says, no. I said, oh, because I thought he was familiar. She was like, he was in Moonlight. He had just won an Oscar. Remember they put the cards and it was supposed to be Moonlight. They said La La Land. That was Alex on that stage. I had no idea. And the first thing that Genesis had to do, she had to lick his face. So I'm saying all that to say, I know it might be hard, but if you just search inside yourself and say, God, use me. What do you want me to do? And you make a commitment to that, your life will never be the same.
That is inspiring. A lot of people believe that other people can be blessed, right? That God will bless somebody else. They oftentimes go, oh, but not me. And I have seen so many people who have persevered step into their space. It is an awesome, beautiful thing. And what's cool about it is that we all have our own space, right? So you don't have to be in somebody else's space or do what they do because it's not for you.
This is what I like to say. Look at your hands. Everybody on here, look at your hands. Ted, look at your hands. You see them? Now, on the back of your hands, on these parts right here, they're called fingerprints, right? No one else in the world has these same fingerprints. Nobody. We all got 2 eyes, nose, mouth, ears. Nobody has these fingerprints like you. That's the contract. God said, I know every hair on your head. That's it. I know you. If you go and you give the police, they know exactly who you are. Well, God does too. That's what makes it right, what you're saying. Everybody has their own divine connection. Just got to tap into it.
That is awesome. We got a few comments in here. Amazing discussion. Bravo. But God, if you guys have any questions or comments for Rashada, please throw them in. But Rashada, I just want to thank you so much. This has just been really, really amazing. And I want to give you an opportunity. Once again, Rashada is actress, vocalist. She has a lot of wonderful credits artistically, but she's a woman of faith, which is to me even more impressive because at the end of the day, one of the things that my wife and I are teaching heavily for our children is that you have to get the right things on the inside before you can get anything on the outside. If you get those things on the inside first, then you can go and the outside will take care of itself. What would you tell people, Rashada, who, and I want to move this beyond the arts, right? Because the arts are one space, and that's the gifting that we have, but we're multifaceted people and involved in the community. You're a teacher, you're an educator, what would you tell people who have a burden on their heart for themselves, for the community, when things look hard? What would you tell people to do, to say from your life, what you've learned? Maybe the greatest thing that you've learned through all of these journeys, and you're still on your way, sister. You know what I'm saying? You ain't, as Michael, my favorite artist is Michael Jackson.
I know.
And so I'm either quoting MLK, Malcolm X, or Michael Jackson. Michael said, at one point they asked him about Thriller and stuff like that, and he goes, you ain't seen nothing yet, and he just had all this other stuff he wanted to keep producing and creating. Um, I know that's for you. I know you have much more in store. But tell us, leave us with some words of wisdom from your life, an experience or something that would be something that our folks could hang on to.
Well, I think I'll stick with the Michael Jackson thing too, just for you. And you said it already, but man in the mirror.
Mm.
You can start with forgiving yourself for whatever it is you think you missed, for whatever it is that you were too lazy to do, that you were so depressed you couldn't get out, or that you knew you needed to do something, you just didn't for whatever reason. Forgive yourself because you're a human being. None of us are perfect. Not none of us. And guess what? We never will be
Mm.
because that's how God made us. And if we honor that, then we can forgive someone else.
Mm.
And then we can start having some real big, impactful conversations because that's what frees up the space,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Why would we forgive someone else if we haven't even forgiven ourselves?
And the word says you can't even come to me
Mm.
until you talk to your brother.
That's true. You're absolutely right.
So if it starts with self, I forgive myself. And then from that forgiveness, you get to, I'm worthy of love. Then you go to somebody else, whoever it was, even if it's just somebody who cut you off in the street. If you say in your car, I forgive you. And then you are worthy. Then it starts to trickle over. Before you know it, it's a worldwide takeover. And then God can start being like, now that's who I want you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were already there anyway, but now you feel it here much clearer.
Right, right,
No fear.
right. Wow. You said a mouthful. Thank you so much, Rashada Dawan. Please check her out, RashadaDawan.com. Find out what she's doing. She's all over doing wonderful stuff, even in quarantine. She's instructing people in the arts. My daughter's one of her students now, which we're very excited about. And so they can follow you on social media, Rashada Dawan, RashadaDawan.com, Rashada Dawan on Facebook, Rashada Dawan, I'm assuming on the other social
So
media
I'm a
sites.
little more incognito on Instagram,
Okay,
but it's just
gotcha.
Butterfly Dawan, Buttafli Dawan, Dawan
And,
on
uh,
Instagram.
and, and, and B Fly Productions, they can,
And bflyproductions.org. That's usually where most of my stuff is.
okay, bflyproductions.org,
BFLI Productions with an S.
got it, just a letter B. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you very
Thank
much.
you
And I
so
think
much
you
for
inspire
having
a lot
me.
of people.
And thank you for all that you do, Ted. You never stop working. You've always got your hustle on, but me too. And so I understand it. I see you, I feel you, I hear you.
Kindred spirits, sister, kindred spirits. We got to get out of here. We got one life to live.
That's right. Make
We
it
got
count.
it. And he put a lot in us, so we have to keep giving it up.
Pour it out until it's no more left.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you, love you. Take care
God
now. Have a
bless
good
you,
night.
love you too.
Okay.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Keith.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so grateful that you joined us tonight. And that's it for this episode of Change with Ted Williams. We'll be back next week. Dr. Amara Inya will be joining us. Next Friday, we'll be doing 1619 at the House of Hope, which we're super excited about. And new book out this week, Your Life in 4K. Please check it out on all of the social media sites. We are just grateful. I hope that this has been inspiring for you in some way, shape, or form. Oh, also, don't forget, if you guys are interested in virtual house church experience, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're doing a service called We Rise, and you can inbox me for the Zoom link. Just lots and lots of stuff just to inspire, educate, and entertain, and to make our communities better. God bless you all. Love you guys all. Have a wonderful night. And if you've got any ideas, thoughts, whatever, please hit us up. I'd love to help, support, do whatever I can. Take care now. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye for real. I'm trying to say goodbye. There we go. Okay, I really mean that. Remember, change starts with you. Bye-bye for real. No, it's not. I can't stop. be okay. I'm trying to leave, guys. My mouse is acting funny. Let me just try a different way. I promise I'm saying goodbye. I really am. This is very embarrassing. I don't get any technical problems until I try to end the broadcast. Okay, there we go.